Welcome to a very special episode of the Heads Together podcast. This episode is in honor of International Women's Day 2024. And my special guest for this episode is Malin Rosenkvis. Malin is the Director of Fundraising and Communications at Microloan Foundation, which is a women's empowerment and poverty alleviation charity that delivers social microfinance to women in Malawi, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. I've got involved with this charity, the foundation, recently, and I'm going to be honest with you, I'm captivated by the work that they do. And so I was so keen for Malin to come on today to talk a little bit about what the foundation does, why they do it, how they do it, and how they make such a difference in the lives of women in some of the poorest countries on the planet. I think you're going to be really captivated by this like I am. I really urge you to check out microloanfoundation.org.uk and take action today. If this episode resonates with you the way that the foundation resonates with me, I know that you're going to want to take some action. So do head to the website after you've listened to the episode. Make a donation if you can, however small, it doesn't matter, or have a look at other ways you can support the foundation, because I just want you to know, I want you to look at the website to research and see why this is a very, very special organization. This is an organization that is helping women not by giving handouts, but by empowering them to be able to start their own businesses, something that without the help of the foundation, these clients of theirs wouldn't be able to do. So Malin is going to tell you much more about the foundation, and she will do it in a much better way than I will. So let's dive into the conversation. Welcome to the Heads Together podcast. I'm Jill Mokes, and I am obsessed with cutting through the noise when it comes to growing your business. Each week, via intimate coaching conversations and inspirational stories, I share what it really takes to get the results you want in a way that feels right to you. I am all about attracting higher ticket opportunities, building authentic relationships, and creating the abundant, full-fat version of your dream business. I mean, how many of us have beavered away creating a light version of what we really want? The thing is, I honestly believe when you're outstanding at what you do, there is no limit to what you can achieve. So, are you ready to put our heads together and make it happen? Let's go. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so happy to have you on the show.
It is such a pleasure to be here. It feels like it's been a long time coming. I'm very excited.
It does feel like it's been a long time coming. For anyone listening, we had a couple of false starts, didn't we? So we had a couple of false starts where technology was not our friend. However, we are now ready to go. And I am beyond ready to talk to you about the amazing work that the Microloan Foundation does. And so thank you for coming on and giving up some time to talk to me today about it, because it's something that I've been captivated by really since I found out about the work that you do. And I really want to share this. I really want to share this with as many people as possible. So could we kick off by you just giving us a bit of a brief overview of what the Microloan Foundation is and what it does?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to do the nutshell version, which is Microloan Foundation is a women's empowerment and a poverty alleviation organization. So we help some of the poorest women in Malawi, Zambia, and Zimbabwe to start their own small businesses by giving them loans, so startup capital, as well as a lot of training on financial literacy, how to run a business, entrepreneurship, bringing them that confidence. And then as a result, they're able to set up small businesses. And when I say small, we're called Microloan Foundation for a reason.
Yep.
And small businesses. And as a result, they're able to slowly begin that journey out of poverty. Maybe I should tell you who the people that we serve are, because that's what makes us different.
Yeah, that would be really good if you could tell us a little bit about who you serve.
Absolutely. So we work with women only, 100% women. And those women live in rural areas. Many of them are living on, 50% or more of them are living on less than £1 a day. So they live in extreme poverty. This means they're struggling to find enough food for themselves and for their families. If they fall ill, they might not be able to go to the doctor. They're unlikely to be able to send their children to school because they can't afford, even if school fees are free, they can't afford the uniform for the books or the transport to school. So these are women that live in dire poverty, I would say. And many of them are smallholder farmers as well. So they live in rural areas.
I just want to go back to this dire poverty because I think it's really important for us to realize that, I'm not sure that we can have any idea living where we do, the privilege we have right now, of what that really means. And when you and I spoke before, you were explaining to me something that just really stuck with me, that these women go to bed hungry for long periods of time. And I think this is probably connected to what you were about to tell us about the fact that they are smallholder farmers. So tell us how that shows up in terms of what they do and why that is.
It's interesting because female smallholder farmers are less productive than their male counterparts. And there are many reasons for that. But obviously, if you're less productive and you're a subsistence farmer, you're living kind of hand to mouth, you're going to be going to bed hungry more often than not, basically. And the reason for it is that they take more responsibility for the unpaid care work and the work that happens in the home. And that doesn't just apply to the women that we serve in Africa. That applies to women across the globe. Across the globe, women do 70% of the unpaid work and the unpaid care work. And that's something I think which is, a lot of the things that we're chatting about today and the women that we work with in Microloan Foundation, it actually does to a certain extent also apply to that gender imbalance that we have in the world, in our society as well.
So I think it's so important. And it's one of the reasons I wanted this episode to go out on International Women's Day, is because this is an issue that really is reflective across the globe for women. But for these women that you serve in Africa, it is utterly dire, the situation. And I've never really come across an example of a charity that operates in the way that the foundation does. So am I right in calling it a charity? It is still a charity, but it is so different to the way a charity normally works. So I know that there is these loans, some of them that it's like around £25. Am I right?
Yeah, this is where I'm saying micro is really micro. No, but the startup loans in Malawi are just, £25 to start a small business. And, when you say, so are you a charity? It's a really good question because yes, absolutely we are. And we do need donations and we need grants and we need the support from the general public to help us continue and grow our work. But we also believe that as a charity or as an organization, any organization, we need to have an element of sustainability, which means that the loans are repaid. We charge an interest on the loans to make sure that we can cover some of the costs to deliver the training and the support. And ultimately, our goal is for us to be sustainable as an organization so that any donations that come through do not have to be spent on serving the clients that we already serve and our overheads, but actually can help us reach new women, more women, and also make sure that we improve what we're doing because we can always do better.
Of course. I think that goal is amazing because if you can get to that point where it's self-sustaining with the loans, and then you can move into other territories, right? Because you've started in these 3 specific countries. So Malawi, Zimbabwe and Zambia. The reason for that is that some of the poorest women in the world are in those countries, right? And you have to start somewhere. But if you can get to that point of the microfinance side of things being sustainable and self-renewing almost, then like you say, any donations that come into the charity means that you can expand this and help more women in wider territories. So such a great model, I think, for this. I'm really curious about that because there is always a question mark with charities. If you're going to donate to a charity, you want to help the people that you want to help, but you always have this suspicion or this kind of worry that the money isn't going to get to the people that you want to help. It's going to get swallowed up by governance or by something else. And so I suppose a question I have for you is like, how do you know that the money that is donated is going to be used in an effective way for the people that it's intended for?
A really good question, and a question that I wish I was asked more often, because I think there's a really important learning piece. As a donor, you do have responsibility for making sure that you're picking the right organization that you donate to so that the money is well spent. It is a really important question. And from our perspective, first of all, operating in Africa, there are challenges with the corruption. We have corruption all over the world and in our own societies as well. But there are certain challenges. And therefore, we in Microloan Foundation UK is the same organization as Microloan Foundation Malawi or Microloan Foundation Zambia or Microloan Foundation Zimbabwe. So the money doesn't go anywhere else. We have control over that, rather than working through a partnership where all of a sudden transparency becomes very challenging. And I mean, you can see on our website that we are very transparent with how we spend our money and what we do. It's really important. And as someone who donates, it's also important that you look that up so that your money is actually having the intended impact. But then from our perspective as an organization, it's also our responsibility to make sure that we are prudent with how we spend our money, that we do have good governance in place, that we do have spend the money that we should be spending on structures to make sure that money is not misspent. We have the right people in the right place. That's really, really essential for having a functioning organization of whether it's a charity or company, But then also we have the added piece of measuring the impact of what we do. We need to make sure that we are really mindful and careful to make sure that what we do is having the intended consequences, that we are actually having a positive impact.
And that has its own challenges, doesn't it? With the level of poverty and the level of perhaps education that these women have had access to in their lives and that kind of thing. I am guessing that there has to be some layers of helping the women who are given the money use it wisely so that they get the outcome that they want. And I'm pretty sure that's not signing up to some kind of really complicated high-tech digital course. So tell me what that looks like within Microloan.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's such a central part to our model. And it's such a central part to the women's success as well. Before the women get access to a loan, you've got to remember these are women who are living with very low levels of literacy. Many of them are signing for their loan with a thumbprint, So before they get access to a loan, we need to make sure they understand what it means to take a loan. We need to educate them on their financial health, basically. So that's what we do before they get access to a loan. They take part in 7 training sessions before they get a loan. And when they're ready and they've got, we've helped them work out how to make a business plan and how to run a sustainable business, that's when they get access to the loan. And you've got to remember, as they can't, many of them, some can, but many have low levels of literacy. So the training is done through role play, through song, through dance, through visual aids, just different kinds of way to make sure that they actually remember what they do. And very often we might post the singing and the dancing about, from our clients. But it's really important to know that it's not just for fun. It's not just some African women singing, these are women in the process of learning. There's a purpose to what we're doing and how we are conducting those training sessions. And I can tell you, they are amazing to attend.
I imagine, and I know you've been fortunate enough to go and experience that with the women. It must be amazing to see that firsthand, to see that just that start of something that's about to unfold for those women once they get to that level of understanding, to get their loan, to begin their business. I can't only imagine how that feels to see that.
Yeah, it is amazing. I've had the fortune to meet so many of the inspiring women in our network, and they are, like many women are across the globe, they're juggling 1,000,001 things, but they're doing it in a slightly, we all have challenges in our lives, right? But they have possibly bigger challenges.
More fundamental.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. More fundamental. That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
I would love to hear, like, maybe an example of someone who has benefited from what Microloan Foundation do. Have you got any good stories to share with us of the real impact?
Oh my God, I have so many. I don't even know which one to pick. So I can tell you about one woman who I first met her in 2016. Her name is Maritha Stevens, and she's from Malawi. I met her when she was taking part in an agricultural training for smallholder farmers. She had just been divorced. She's got four biological children, and she had just taken in an orphan as well. And that was actually her brother's son, because the brother and his wife had passed away in HIV. And this orphan also had HIV. So she was basically learning how, as a single mom of 5, she was learning how to see her farm as more of a business rather than a kind of a necessary hand to mouth kind of thing. And the way first of all, her sense of humor is absolutely phenomenal. In all of this, she's super driven and just has the most amazing sense of humor and real drive and determination to succeed. And obviously this was early days, right? This was in 2016. Then I met her again. in 2022. And it was so amazing. First of all, I walked into the village and she now has a restaurant. So she has a little shop and she has a restaurant and she has a farm. Yeah, it's really amazing. And I walked into the village and she sees me and she knew that I was coming and I see her and it was like seeing an old friend. Some people you just click with. And it was just so, so lovely. And the orphan that she was looking after, she had taken in another orphan at this point, but the child that she had taken in who had HIV was healthy and was doing well and was on antiretrovirals, Obviously there are challenges, but she's really so driven.
Wow.
To make a positive change and have a positive impact for her own family, but also for other people who in her community are less fortunate than she is. She just has a level of generosity in her that is just amazing.
I was just conscious I was sitting here with my mouth wide open because, it's captivating hearing these stories. For anyone listening, do go to the Microloan Foundation website because there are lots of stories on there of incredible women, stories like that. It's just amazing. One thing you said earlier just now that I really stuck out to me is you referred to the women that are helped as clients.
Yeah.
That really stands out for me. It gives them this level of respect that they deserve because these aren't people taking handouts. These are people taking loans that they will repay, and they are investing in their own training and they are committing time to learn and all of those things. So I really love that you are referring to them as clients because that is what they are, right? They are clients of a microfinance business.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I think it's really important also in our rhetoric around people who live in poverty to make sure that we have a rhetoric that is dignified.
Yes.
And that isn't some kind of savior behavior. These women are helping themselves. The success that they have is their success. We are there to facilitate and provide them with an opportunity, but they are the ones who are building the success, and they are the driving forces behind that success.
That is what I just love. And it's part of what's going to contribute to this being sustainable. Because charities that are just asking for handouts, that's a really hungry animal and it's never ending. And yes, the donations are always going to be required to be able to expand this. But as soon as this can get to this level of self-sustaining as a finance business, that lights me up, because it means that this is something that can grow and grow and grow and help more and more and more women, which is very, very exciting. How can people get involved? How can people help?
There are so many ways that you can get involved and help. And the first step in this, I would say, is to take a look at our website. So microloanfoundation.org.uk. And also follow us on social media, on Instagram, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, and on Facebook. Then we have a very, very exciting event happening on the 6th of June in London. So if you're up for fun and inspiring stuff, we have the wonderful team at Canva hosting an event for us where we will be having a whole load of cool women doing cool stuff. That is actually the name of the event.
Oh, that's brilliant. Cool women doing cool stuff. Who doesn't want to go to that?
Right? So we'll have anything from like super duper CEOs of massive companies who will do a sort of fireside chat. We've got a little bit of an art exhibition coming through. We've got someone in journalism who will be talking. It will be a whole bunch of cool women doing cool stuff. And I think anyone, man or woman, should be joining us. We are still to put that information up on our website, but all I'm saying is
insider info,
Yeah.
people listening. So keep your eyes peeled. And I will be sure to, if you are on my email list, you will definitely get a reminder when that's about, because I will remind you. But yeah, definitely keep checking the website for that one.
Absolutely. And then, of course, one of the key things, and kind of drawing back on what we've been talking about today, you know, a donation of any size will make a difference. We measure our impact very, very carefully. You know, we have a globally recognized poverty probability index that we use to measure poverty status. We measure a whole range of indicators very carefully, and we talk to our clients, asking them what they want and what they need and the difference that we are making in their lives in terms of the services that we provide. So if you're able to make a donation, that of course is going to have a real impact on the lives of the women that we serve.
And a real and direct impact. I mean, this money, as you've just set out for us, this money is very carefully looked after within the Microloan Foundation, like any financial institution. It's very carefully looked after, and you're really prudent about how it's used, which I just think is really reassuring for people who want to help serve these women, help these clients of yours to start these businesses, which is just, I mean, it's something that I'm sure many of them could never have dreamt of without help from the foundation. Never. Well, they certainly couldn't have. So I will make sure that we've got links in the show notes for all the ways that people can follow you, can check out on the website. But I guess my ask for today, which is International Women's Day, is that if you're listening to this and you want to do something that isn't just posting on social media about how much you support International Women's Day, because you know me by now, you've heard me talk a lot, and you know that I am utterly unapologetic about calling things out that get on my nerves. And one of them is when we are so into the social media value of hitching a ride onto things like International Women's Day. I would love it if you're listening, if you want to really make that mean something, if you want to actually directly help women on International Women's Day, how about making a donation? It's like a small act for you to do. This is any amount of donation, but it's something you can actually do right now. If you're listening to this on your phone, you can do it now via your phone, and it will make a difference. So I would love you to just think about that. Think about how International Women's Day isn't just a way for you to raise your visibility as someone who supports something good. It's a way for you to actually take action to support something good. Okay, rant over and bossiness withdrawn. Malin, I'm back to you. I'm off my high horse now. Do you understand what I mean by that? You know, I think that International Women's Day is brilliant. I love it. I love it. I love it. But it has to be more than just something that we can all boast about supporting. Has to be more than that.
Yeah, absolutely. And for us, I mean, we try to celebrate women every day of the year, but I do have to admit that it is intensified around International Women's Day because we're just,
of course,
pushing it out there.
Why would, I mean, we're putting this podcast episode out on International Women's Day. I'll be talking about it on social media, you know? So you're absolutely right. But I think it's if we could all get that balance of riding the wave of awareness around things like this, but also taking the action, not letting it just be something that's awareness driven, letting it be something where you're taking action to support, I think would be amazing.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for coming on. I don't think it's the last time that you'll come on. I hope it won't be the last time you come on.
I have loved it.
Well, thank you. And I want more stories. I want more stories. And I feel like that's what everyone's going to want to hear about, is some of these amazing stories that bring this to life. It's the stories that bring to life what donating will actually mean for a woman's life and her family's life. So I think if you're happy to, I would love to have you back on before too long to talk more about that.
Absolutely. I would love that.
Thank you, Malin, and enjoy the rest of International Women's Day.
Likewise, and happy International Women's Day to all.
Happy International Women's Day wherever you are. Thanks, Malin. Bye for now.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed this episode and that getting our heads together this week has filled your mind with what's possible. If you love the show, would you do me a massive favour, please? Would you leave a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts? It would really help me put more heads together, reach more ears and expand more minds. Until next week, bye for now.